Try to arrest other people, which God knows who could that be, right? Let me see this. Boosie still speaking on Rod Wave.
Ride Wave in Atlanta, pull up to the concert. No. Y'all get off my live with this Ride Wave, man. Dude ain't like that, bro. Fuck with the real, bro. Say he was gonna pull up. Be cap, man. I'd rather pay a lawyer, but you look up to a the snakes. Are you going to ride with? Oh man, bro. Can y'all kill me with the Ride with, bro? Come on, bro. God damn. Do it look like I'm going?
All right. Yo, Boosie, man.
Ride.
With all due respect to you, man. Like, you're trying to do like highway stick ups. Bro, you're claiming you're owed certain amount of money. You don't know the accounting. People don't believe you own certain percentage of the record that you're claiming you own. Yes, that's a clear dispute. That's a disagreement. And to be honest, the best thing when you're in a business situation where you have a dispute and disagreement is not to bicker and fight over it online and call each other names and say who's not like that and accuse another person of trying to steal or say whatever. The best thing is to include a third party who could read contracts, who could just arbitrarily figure out who's owed what. And unfortunately, a part of that might be going to court. And it seemed like Rod Wave is down to do that. It don't seem like he's saying, fuck you, I'm never going to pay you. I think he's saying, bruh, I'm going to pay you what I'm supposed to pay you. You know what I mean? Now, Boosie might be upset because he wants to just tell him, yo, give me $200,000. That's just not how the music business works. You know what I mean? Like, shit. If you could just name any random price and just because you were part of a record without maybe even fully owning it at the current time, yeah, it wouldn't work. By the way, speaking of like, records and record deals and stuff like that, did you see this clip with I'll look for YouTube shorts of it. It's like Snoop Dogg. So basically, Snoop Dogg recently was talking about how much money he got paid for some Spotify stream. Here we go.
They just sent me some shit from Spotify where I got 1 billion streams, right? My publisher hit me. I said, break that down. How much money is that? That shit wasn't even $45,000.
That's crazy.
Okay.
They just sent me some shit from Spotify where I got 1 billion streams, right? My publisher hit me. I said, break that down. How much money is that? That shit wasn't even $45,000.
That's crazy.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
They just sent me some shit from Spotify where I got 1 billion streams, right? My publisher hit me. I said, break that down. How much money is that? That shit wasn't even $45,000.
That's crazy.
All right. Sorry. I know you want to keep hearing this. Okay. All right. Now, people saw this and they were like, yo, you're the money guy. You're the pocket watcher. How is this making sense? You've done the math about how much X's, catalog is bringing him. You've done it for Juice WRLD's catalog, how much his catalog is bringing. Why the hell did Snoop Dogg just said 1 billion
they just
streams?
Sent me some shit from Spotify.
1 billion streams is only getting him like $45,000. Now, I got to explain to you, and this school again. By the way, just to let y'all know, see, this is why I should get paid for this shit. You feel me? I ain't gonna hold you. Well, I do get paid for it, I guess. But yeah, class in session, people. Now, this is just a reality of the game, okay? Let me try to show y'all. Make this a little bit smaller. I'm gonna show you how really, pretty much, most of these companies pay out, right? And I'm going to tell you why what Snoop Dogg says makes sense. Okay, I'll use Spotify as an example, but YouTube does the same. Apple Music does the same. It's just different numbers, okay? So Spotify, I'm trying to be like, I'm using It's not going to be all the way 100% correct, but you're going to get in the ballpark. I'm just trying to use nice numbers that we can make sense of shit, okay? So you can use these numbers to calculate too if you want. So Spotify... So how does Spotify make money, right? Spotify earnings, right? Spotify earnings is, subscribers for the most part. I mean, now they do, a lot of stuff for podcasts, which are ads, but it's just subscriber dollars, right? So, for example, if they have a million subscribers, like 1 mil subs times, I don't know. How much is Spotify these days? $15? $15 a sub. Okay. Right? So, at that point, it would be... Sorry. Okay, now I can't type. What the fuck? Okay, anyway. All right, so that's how Spotify earns his money. I'm just making it real simple. So Spotify earns his money. By the way, I'm not correct with the amount of subs they have. They have hundreds of millions of subs. But this is how they make their money. That's all the money that comes into Spotify. Now, here's the thing. Spotify has deals with the top 3 companies, right? So they have already existing deals with UMG, Sony, Warner. These deals are licensing deals and payout deals. So when a song is submitted from any one of these companies, by the way, if you don't know, Drake, Nicki falls under here, Weeknd falls under here. Sony, you're going to get people like 21 Savage, Epic is under Sony. Warner, you're going to get people like NLE Choppa, and now 300. So like you're going to get motherfucking Young Thug and Gunna and people like that, right? So they're Warner. They all have these deals with Spotify, right? So let me see, get a little line or something. So all of them, and now I can erase this. My bad, chat. I'm probably fucking all this shit up for you. Let me just select. Okay. So okay. Then so Spotify has special deals with them, and then over here we just gonna put independent. Okay? And independent might mean TuneCore, DistroKid, United Masters. Actually, they have a special deal with United Masters too, but it's not like what they have with UMG and them. Indie. Just put indie, okay? Okay. Now, this is how theoretically it goes. Now, to understand a record contract, you need to understand that the majority of record contracts, the ownership of the masters, and this is why masters matter. The ownership of the masters, which is the rights to the music, and usually the person who owns the masters, they're getting the full payout of the royalties of the record. What are royalties? If you buy a record for $10, that would come back in royalties. That's royalties. That's basically money for the record bought or streamed. Okay? Now, that's where the lion's share of the money is for the short term. We're going to get to publishing, which is where the money is for the long term. So for the short term, this is why the labels have these special deals with Spotify, and this is why also UMG, Sony, and Warner, they also be winning, right? What do? Every time these 3 get in a deal with a artist, they own the masters. So let's just write under here, own the masters. Like, for example, I'll even say this, and I can say this confidently. X's mom gets way more money from X's catalog than Juice WRLD does, right? Like, Juice WRLD was signed through Interscope. Interscope is under UMG. These companies, theoretically, you might own part of your masters, but their job is to kind of own most of your masters. You know what I mean? Like, they give you a big advance. Yo, take $8 million. We want your masters, though, right? Independent, they're going to give you usually smaller amount of money, but you own your shit. Who's under indie? Empire. So, for example, Young Dolph, XXXTentacion, who's under it now? Money Man is under it. So these people, they own the Young Blue, they own their masters, right? Okay, cool. So I give you a real quick, like, okay, you know who kind of don't own it. And by the way, this doesn't apply to everybody, by the way. It doesn't apply to everybody. If you come in with tremendous leverage, for example, 21 Savage, he came in with tremendous leverage when he signed to Epic. He owns his masters, okay? So he owns his masters, and he has a really interesting deal, but that's not the regular deal. But if you're talking about somebody like Didi Osama, you're talking like somebody like the regular artist, like Glorilla or some shit like that. Like it's without a doubt she doesn't own her masters. Like, you know what I mean? I could bet $1 million she doesn't own her masters, right? So, okay, cool. I'm going to tell you why I just did the whole do you own your masters versus do you don't. Remember, when it comes to music, there's two things to consider. Masters, publishing. Now, the job of these labels usually is that they want to own your masters, right? Then what they like to do is we're going to give you a loan up front. So we're going to give you $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $10 million. Then we're going to give you a royalty rate calculation on money we get in royalties. So basically, all the sales that coming back for your music, we're going to give you a percentage. Usually that percentage is around like between 14% and 20%. That's the old way of how the music industry used to go. So if you think about it like that, right? They're making 80 cents on every fucking album you made, and you're only making like 20 cents at max. Really, it's like about 15 cents. And then they're calculating and offsetting it with the loan they gave you as an advance, and they're offsetting it with all the services they have to provide for you. Radio, travel, studio time, like all these things. So basically, this is why people don't make money from their music ever, right? Cool. So now we understand that. With publishing, this is what usually happens, right? So basically, most people don't own their masters. It's rare. With publishing, you usually own your publishing unless Diddy signs you back in the 90s. This is why, like, remember we were playing that one thing from the Locks when they were like, yo, we want to throw a refrigerator off the thing. They used to rob artists. Like, I think even, that's why all of the older artists, no disrespect to them, they're broke. Like, that's just really what it is. Because at the time they were hot, and this is why, remember I keep telling you, royalties, which it deals with your ownership in the masters, right? Or how the person who owns the masters, how that royalties will get divvied out. Royalties, you won't say. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Hey, okay. So masters, you're gonna get like pretty much first week sales. There's a payout for that. So like we could calculate within reason how much money say Drake will generate based on a few things. Just off sales, how much is single stream, how much the album streams, how much the album sells, how much is single streams. There's some other ways that revenue comes in. Like for example, but like for example, these days Facebook pays out certain shit for sounds. TikTok also pays out certain shit for sounds, but a lot of that is kind of convoluted. I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but I just want to, and I'm kind of getting a little bit deep into too much shit, which this is like a 101 course, so we're not going too far. But to explain why Snoop Dogg said 45,000, and remember I told you the math should have been this, right? Let me bring my calculator up. Because if we're going on my math, right, the math I always use, it would have been this. Hold on. Calculator. Cool. Right? A billion streams. No, you said a billion streams or a billion sales? What do you say? Oh, my bad.
They just sent me some shit from Spotify where I got 1 billion streams, right? My publisher hit me.
Okay, so 1 billion streams theoretically would be this. Let's go. Give me a second. 1 billion streams, 1 Okay, that's 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, 1 billion. Okay? Theoretically, let me see to do the math on that. If it's a particular record, I could divide that by, let me see. I'm not going to calculate and use the album method. I'm going to use per single sold. Okay, so divided by 150. So according to streams, if you stream a song 150 times, it's equivalent to buying the song 150 times, okay? So 1 billion divided by 150, you see 6 million, right? It says it's supposed to be $6 million, right? How much is a single? Usually $1. So this is kind of accurate to what it should be. Now, that's exactly, or it's around that number that got paid out by Spotify. So Spotify is paying out something of the sort around here. The reason why Snoop Dogg got what he got, number one, we don't know if he owns all of his publishing for that particular song. Again, all of these things, which you don't know, let me now go back to this part. Let's open my Microsoft thing. Okay. Now, all of these things, all right, now I'm going to erase these things, right? So now we heard about masters. Fuck. Now, here we go. So I'm going to create two big circles. This is what artists, if you're a smart artist, you need these to really be rich as fuck, okay? Masters, publishing. Okay. The majority of these artists, and especially older artists, they don't own their masters. So cut half the pie out. This shit don't matter. Just X it out. They don't own none of the masters of these songs. Okay? Niggas like Diddy own it. These old white dudes own it. I guarantee like Snoop Dogg, them songs, hell nah. He'll own the masters of them songs. Okay? So keep in mind, the majority of money that get paid out are going to be just usually royalties. He's missing out on all that money already, right? So it's not really Spotify. Niggas, your record label that fucked you, okay? You don't own your masters. Now, here's the thing with publishing, and it's the same thing with masters. This is a pie. This shit could get cut up 20 different ways. You know what's going to happen? You get your first big song in the industry, you're going to have somebody come and say, yo, rather than waiting to collect your money, we'll give you $3 million right now for your publishing. You might be like, nah, I don't want to do that. They'll be like, all right, bet. We'll give you $2 million for half your publishing. So it's like a pie. You cut this bitch up any way you want. This is half. This is quarter. You could sell this quarter to one person, this quarter to another person. Again, a lot of people don't have their entire publishing. Here's the thing too. You know what most labels do, and they'll double dip? They'll say, hey, we don't take all your publishing. We only take a quarter. So this belongs to the label. For every record you ever drop, under them, the CEO, which that's how CEOs really like. If you look up some of these, like that's what Boosie was saying about his brother with Young Blues record. He took some of the publishing by default. So the majority of artists don't own all their publishing for the song, right? So again, who knows how much percentage that Snoop Dogg owns? That's why when he's talking about Spotify's payout, yeah, he said something very important. His publisher told him, which tells me he might be in a publishing deal, which means that if someone's admin his publishing, who knows what that deal might be? They might have given him a check up front to say, hey, we gave you $5 million back in the day that was covering all these records. Now you're only entitled to this percentage as we go forward, or this amount of money, whatever the case is. So again, what Snoop is talking about, with all due respect, if you don't know what his contract is, you can't indict Spotify about this. Now, let's talk about and this is why I brought up Spotify earlier. So, remember, I'm telling you that a song that's hold on, give me 1 second. Okay. Give me right here. Is it this? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, let me get my calculator back out. Okay, chat? Here we go. So remember what Snoop Dogg said, right? And then this is what we got. This is why we got to talk about music literacy, because this absolutely matters. Because you'll hear these artists talk like there's no money in music, and you know why they're talking like there's no money in music? Because they're in fucked up deals. There is money in music. And there's no disrespect to Snoop, but you know, a lot of artists from that era don't really got their business how it should be, right? So let me do the math real quick. Let me do the math on a billion. Is this it right here? Okay. Let me do the math on a billion. Remember I told you it's $6.6 million. So you have a song with 1 billion streams, it's $6.6 million. But there's a range. There's a range. Like I'll calculate it with the Spotify curve. So for example, we're gonna do it via album units instead of single units. I did it on single units before, and that was 6.6 million. I'm gonna do it on album units now. Okay, so here we go. $1 billion or 1 billion streams. That's 1 billion, correct? 1 billion divided by. Remember, we know, if shit. I'm like a math major, so like I'm setting it up in my head. I'll write it down here for you if you care about it. So 4,500 equals no. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. I set this up wrong, like a motherfucker. I'm an idiot. It's 4,500 per 1 million streams. This is all you need to calculate right here. This is how you pocket watch. 45 1 mil streams. That's the equations. At least for Spotify. So for every 4,500 is 1 million streams. And over here, you're going to calculate how much streams. So basically, actually, I did it wrong, didn't I? No, I actually did it wrong. Jesus Christ. My math is horrible. I'm going to do it off the calculator. Then I'm going to set up the equation. My bad. All right, anyway. So 1 billion streams, the way you do it on math, you do it, you got to divide by a million first. 1 billion first. A million. It goes here. So it's 1,000, right? And then 1,000 times 4,500, which is 4.5 million now. So between the two calculations I did it off album calculation with this one. The last one I did it off single calculation, or actually Spotify calculation. I did it off just random single calculation. You should get between $4.5 million to $6.5 million or $6.6 million off of a song that sells 1 billion gets streamed 1 billion times. Now, most of that money gets paid out to here. Going back to this little chart that we had. So most of them, what the fuck? My bad. Most of the money goes to masters. So Spotify primarily pays about 90% of their money to masters. So take that. So let's get back. Where's our calculator? Where the fuck is my calculator? Okay. So just times 0.1. So because we gotta figure out what's the 10% that's gonna get paid out to publishing. Which, by the way, it's less than that. It's not even like 10%. It's like really like 5%. So it's really about like, yeah, actually it's less than that. I forgot how much it is, but $4.5 million that's going to get paid out. The majority is going to get paid out as royalties to the owners of the masters. And then there will be some publishing payments that are given by Spotify that will be allocated by whoever who wrote the song or whoever, like, you know what I mean, you submit to ASCAP or like BMI or some dumb shit like that. And that y'all gonna split, like, I don't know, let's say 5%. So for the billion streams, if you didn't own your masters, your admin company only got $225,000, and now they got to play with that to figure out how much you got, because they might have fronted you money so you don't get the whole thing. There, you might not own the entire publishing. And by the way, here's the thing about publishing too. The thing about the publishing is that how it usually works with a record, half of this got to go to the producer. So divide by 2, that got to go to the producer, right? And theoretically, the other half would go to the songwriter, right? And a lot of times it'd be more than one nigga's on the song. You got another nigga on the hook. Maybe it's your song, but another nigga wrote it, so y'all splitting the publishing. So you can see how, yeah, if you don't own your fucking masters, yeah, of course you're gonna be making videos like YouTube, like Snoop Dogg. Now the nigga who owns his masters, like for example, like say X owns the masters to Sad, that nigga's made at least like probably how many streams is Sad at these days? Let me see. Like Sad is at 2 billion streams. So that shit's made $10 million. His mom has gotten at least $6 or $7 million from that. Facts. Like this is what it is. She owns the masters. Okay. Now I might have just went a little bit too deep in trying to explain that. But yeah. Oh, okay. And here's the equation. This is the equation. This is the equation I meant to write. Sorry. Money made from song. From song. Okay, so let's write the equation. X streams from song is streams from song divided by 1 million, because we need to get it in terms of million. And then we're going to do multiply by 4,500. 4,500 equal. Yeah. So this, if y'all need an equation, just copy or screenshot this. You could calculate at least reasonably on Spotify's platform. Just whatever song, whatever amount of streams you see, go look on the artist page, grab the streams, divide it by this, times it by 4,500. That's the amount of money made from the song. Then that's the entire money. That's well, not the entire money, but yeah, it's kind of gets a little bit more complicated than that. Let's just leave it there for now. Okay. All right. Alrighty then. Y'all like when Teacher Demics come out with it? Or was that boring as shit? That was probably boring as shit to y'all, right?